Hello and welcome back to Mexico News Network's Breaking News. Remember, stay informed 24/7 by logging on to our website www.mexiconewsnetwork.com. And don't forget to follow us always on social networks. You'll find us on Google+, Facebook, as well as Twitter. You'll find us as Mexico News Network. Now let's continue with more information. A fast, low-cost, agile two-seater. Enter Pegasus, the aircraft prototype designed and developed by Raúl and Rodrigo Fernandez, the father and son duo, both heads of Oaxaca Aerospace. It is the first aircraft created with Mexican technology. Oaxaca Aerospace presented the prototype of Pegasus PE-210A, the very first Mexican aircraft developed with its very own technology during Mexico's Airspace Fair in 2015. It is designed to be a fast and agile craft with low operational costs. The project initiated in 2011 and concluded mid-2013. This year, it began its very first runway trials. The idea was to develop a plane that was totally different from what currently exists. Rodrigo Fernandez stated that most existing aircrafts are designs born back in the 50s that have only been modified in areas such as avionics and engine modernization. However, there hasn't been one that has undergone a full change to become more efficient and aerodynamic. Pegasus's design characteristics include the canard wing configuration. It has two seats with a control panel each, located at different levels to provide the possibility of a 300 degrees vertical vision as well as 240 degrees horizontal vision. It will also feature an acrobatic engine. The aircraft is still undergoing trials and certification for it to be commercialized. According to Rodrigo, its potential buyers are armed forces departments, law enforcement agencies, aviation academies, as well as private pilots. Building the aircraft hasn't been an easy task, but the company has received support in different areas such as manpower, airspace specialists, and funding, which has come from the Mexican government, private companies, as well as universities. Now, in more information, world-famous Mexican singer-songwriter Juan Gabriel announced last week the upcoming opening of his brand new entertainment complex in Riviera Maya, El Noa Noa de Juan Gabriel, the namesake of the once legendary establishment that saw the crooner's artistic breakthrough into stardom in the 60s. As part of his extensive Noa Noa tour throughout Mexico, Juan Gabriel flew to the Riviera Maya to witness of the laying of the foundation stone of this great project. Noa Noa de Juan Gabriel will feature special areas dedicated to Mexican culture, but will mainly serve as a permanent venue where the singer and songwriter will perform at certain times of the year along with special guests. So far, the design of the complex includes a tequila museum, which in the future may contemplate a wine museum, as well as a 591.50 square meter restaurant dedicated solely to Mexican cuisine. There will also be a special area with a collection of objects that belong to Juan Gabriel on display. The 4,355 square meters auditorium will have the capacity to seat 1,200 people. It will also feature a 347.9 square meter music museum, a museum of varieties, and a music academy. The academy will in fact focus on admitting children who come from families suffering from economic hardships, orphans, and minors from single-parent households. Juan Gabriel has a very similar project in his hometown of Ciudad Juárez, which currently tends to 150 students. There are very high hopes that the same number of minors can be admitted into this new Riviera Maya location. Also present during the groundbreaking ceremony were the proprietors, Mrs. Dolores López Lira e Hinojo, and her husband, Don José Luis Martínez Alday, who stated that this project will be an impulse to children in Quintana Roo. He added on that for children who live in poverty or who are going through difficult life situations, Music can be an agent of change, and what this center hopes to achieve is to encourage that creative element. Juan Gabriel himself, during an interview with Mexico News Network, agreed with this statement and described music as a balm for the soul. He added on that he identified with children in difficult situations because he himself too had a very difficult childhood. He also expressed his great hopes that Mexico may one day have very strong music programs like those offered in Venezuela, seeking how our country has a great deal of talent. This entertainment center will be located on kilometer 45th of the Cancun Playa del Carmen highway, just at the entrance of the Generations Riviera Maya by Carisma, a gourmet inclusive resort. The very first stage of this center is estimated to be completed by summer next year, 2016. The Government of Canada recently announced that as of 2016, certain Mexicans may not need a visa to enter the Canadian nation. An electronic traveling authorization, otherwise known ETA, will determine the eligibility of Mexican citizens who meet certain requirements to enter Canada. The Government of Canada has included Mexican visitors, students, as well as business people to be eligible to enter the country without a visa. Those who have held a Canadian visa in the last 10 years or have a valid non-immigrant visa for the United States could be very well eligible to apply for an ETA, which is a system that is expected to be implemented within the first trimester of 2016. The ETA is a simple electronic system with minimum cost that will be mandatory for foreign nationals traveling into Canada, including those who are exempt from having to apply for a visa. Those requesting entry to the country must fill an online application form, which in most of the cases should be approved within minutes. Some applicants may be found inadmissible due to certain criteria such as holding a criminal record or attempting fraud. An official communique from the Mexican Ministry for Foreign Affairs stated that the implementation of this measure is an essential step toward the elimination of the Canadian visa for Mexican nationals. It is the result of diplomatic dialogue, the strengthening of the relationship between the two countries over the past 2 years, as well as the joint efforts of the authorities to move forward in building mutual trust. And in more information, after successfully completing all corresponding evaluations, the Education and Training for Sustainable Development Center of Mexico's Ministry of Environment and Natural Resources finally granted Delfinus Riviera Maya its recognition as a committed space for education. This distinction has only been granted for 300 companies in Mexico so far. With this award, Delfinus becomes the first company in the state of Quintana Roo to fulfill all requirements stated by the Semarnat, which are based on international regulations and granted by experts on sustainability. Each and every year, more than 277,000 people visit Delfinus dolphinariums. From that number, 1,200 are public and private elementary school students who participate in a visiting teaching program. Children who decide to embark upon this educational tour learn about the environment and how to take care of it by learning about the impact of littering, the introduction of non-native species, overfishing, as well as climate change. A very special event was organized to acknowledge this important effort. Among those attending were biologist Teresa Jimenez, coordinator of Semarnat's Environmental Education Department, as well as Teresita Maldonado, coordinator of certification process, and Luis Roberto Sanchez, coordinator of the Office for the Support of Basic Education Programs of the Quintana Roo State Ministry of Education and Culture. After some words from the Semarnat authorities, The General Director of Delfinos, Rodrigo Constanz Cordova, expressed his gratitude and acknowledged the efforts of the park veterinarians, biologists, and all the people that work very hard every day to make this certification possible. He also highlighted his company's commitment to foster a more environmentally responsible society. Mr. Constanz added that Delfinos had just obtained the very first of 3 SEMARNAT certifications and that his new objective will be to obtain the Center for Environmental Education and Culture distinction, to then move to become a certified Center for Environmental Education. We'll be right back with more information on Mexico and the world of science and technology, as well as Riviera Maya, after these few messages.
Audio Jungle.